Hey guys, what is up? And before I continue any further with the video, I'm going to express this very deeply. If you have not seen Avengers Endgame, either hit the X over there or hit the um, back button over there. Watch some of my other videos here if they're over here and you're suggested, or click on a different video. It doesn't matter. But don't watch this video if you have not seen Avengers Endgame. And possibly if you haven't seen Infinity War either, because I'm going to be talking about that just a little bit as well to help with my review of Endgame. I guess the only thing I could tell you without spoiling anything is that I absolutely love the movie, and I would give it probably an 11 out of 10. I absolutely love the movie. And that's as much as I can tell you without giving any spoilers. So please either hit the X over there, hit the backspace over there, click on any video over here. And if you have seen Endgame, welcome! And we shall continue. Give you guys just a second to get out. Alright, that should be long enough. If you're still in here and haven't seen Endgame, your own fault. Alright, so again, like I said, 11 out of 10. I absolutely love the movie. So I guess I'll start from the very beginning. To have, and also like kind of the end of Infinity War carrying into the beginning of Endgame. To have Thanos actually, win and be able to go half of humanity gone is just unreal. And then the heroes that ended up, in the dust. Oh my god, that was bad. And I don't know if that was like an at random thing, or because if I was Thanos, I would have just taken out all the heroes. But he still got a good chunk of them. Was it just like a random thing on who got picked, who didn't? Or was there actually like a selected system that Thanos would have used? That I don't know. But then it's maybe a month later. I think maybe it was like 20 something days. So not quite a month, maybe 3 weeks. And they find out where Thanos is. And they go and confront him to get the Infinity Gauntlet back and reverse everything. And turns out he uses the stones to destroy the stones because he accomplished what he wanted to. But in doing that, he almost killed himself when he destroyed all of them. And, Thor ends up cutting his head off. And that's significant because at the end of Infinity War, he tells Thor, you should have gone for the head because when Thor hits him in the chest with his axe. And it gives him the ability to snap his fingers. But when, Thor's done with that, he just walks away. And then they fast forward 5 years. So you have Thor's fat, Dr. Banner, Bruce, whatever you want to call him. He was able to somehow merge himself with the Hulk to where it's the Hulk's body, but it's his mind. He has complete and utter control, which I thought was kind of cool, but then I'm like, what do I call you? What do I call you? Are you Bruce? You sound and act like Bruce, or are you the Hulk? Because you're the Hulk's body. I'm like, it's probably Bruce, but even then it feels weird. You want to call him Bruce because it's his attitude, it's him talking. But you want to call him Hulk because of the body, but then it doesn't sound like Hulk. It's that gray area. But I still thought it was pretty cool he was able to do that. I mean, Captain America had, I guess it's like a group. It's not Alcoholics Anonymous because Captain America wasn't an alcoholic and, isn't. But it's just like a little group meeting, almost like therapy. And he's trying to help people 5 years later get over the loss of, their loved ones, their friends and their loved ones. And that's a very hard thing to do, to be able to get over the death of a loved one, let alone if your entire family just went whew, when Thanos snaps his fingers. That's, going to be like the worst feeling in the world. And then you got Black Widow, who's trying to, or Natasha, whatever you want to call them. Whatever you want to call the heroes, you can call the heroes. But, she's trying to lead the force to help restore, not even humanity, but restore life. And then she has the help of Rocket, Rhodey, Captain Marvel, and one other person. I think it's, oh man. See, I watched the first Guardians of the Galaxy. I didn't watch the second one. And I didn't really watch Infinity War. So I have no idea what her name is, but she's, she's the person with like the blue and purple face. One of Thanos' daughters. I can't think of her name. Here, picture. That person. So she's also helping out with, with trying to restore, life. What else? Okay, so Ant-Man. He went subatomic at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp. But because, the people he was working with, were unfortunately part of the 50% that got wiped out, he stayed subatomic for those 5 years. Now, to him, it felt like 5 hours. So when it's a Marvel movie, but it's supposed to be like, oh, by chance, a mouse got into his van, hit just the right, buttons on the keyboard, and he was able to, come out of some subatomic. And to him, it's, about time, guys. What happened? Why did our communication cut out? What happened? To him, it's, 5 hours, something probably went wrong, they fixed it, and they were able to bring him back. And then he realizes, no, that is not what happened. Because he's basically in a fenced-in kind of cage thing with his van and his stuff. Because he was subatomic, they figured he was part of the 50% that went whew. So when he shows up at the Avengers facility, they're shocked. He's like, no, I didn't disappear. I was subatomic. But he's even able to go see his daughter, who wasn't part of the 50%, and she had grown up so much in that 5-year span. And then you have when they start putting together ideas to figure out how to go back in time and possibly stop Thanos. And they go to Tony, and Tony has a family, it turns out. He's got a daughter with, was her name Pepper? Piper? Her last name was Potts. And she has actually her own suit, which I thought was cool. Her own, like, Iron Woman suit. So that I thought was really, really cool. Alright, let me fix this. Alright, good enough. And Tony basically says, no, I'm not going to help you because that could potentially risk what I have now. And he's actually able to solve how to do it. And they would be able to figure out how to do it without costing Tony what he has now. And the unfortunate thing is they only have enough of the serum to get each and every one of them to their time and back. And I'm going to basically talk about the most significant ones. So Hawkeye and Black Widow have to go get the Soul Stone, and unfortunately it requires a sacrifice. Now, originally, Red Skull says it requires the sacrifice of a loved one. So it's like, oh my gosh, one of us has to. But then he says something about, look, all it costs is a soul. And I'm like, I offer your soul. Throw him down there, see what happens. Unfortunately, that's not the route they go, and they end up having Hawkeye and Black Widow fight it out for a little bit. Like, they were legit fighting to see, not to see, hey, if I win, you jump. No, it's, I'm going to go jump. No, I'm going to jump. No, I'm going to. And they were literally fighting each other so they could jump. And eventually, Black Widow wins that fight, and they get the Soul Stone. What else? Another significant one is with, let me think, it's Tony, Captain America, and Ant-Man. Oh, and Hulk. Hulk goes back to the same time. They go back to 2012 with the Avengers. And, like, when Loki's army was attacking New York City. And they have to get the scepter, the Tesseract, and the Time Stone, the green one. So Hulk's trying to go get the green one, and talks to whichever monk that, like, trained Doctor Strange, and eventually, like, initially they say no, and it's like, well, then why did Doctor Strange just give it up? It's like, wait, what? He just gave it away? It's like, yeah. So then she, I think it was a she, just ends up giving Bruce the, I'm going to flip between Hulk and Bruce. I know I am. Gives him the Time Stone. Then Captain America is able to get the scepter. He goes to the elevator where there's the strike team and another Hydra guy. And he's trying to be all nice about it and says, hey, this person told me to make sure it was secure. And, it might, we're worried it's going to get stolen. And they're like, no, don't worry, it's safe. You don't have to worry about that. And because of his experience being from the future, he goes over to the guy and kind of in that quiet tone says, Hail Hydra. Which is, their, like, I guess maybe their trademark, or, like, that's the thing they say to each other, members of Hydra. And he's like, what? You're part of Hydra? No. No, I'm just tricking you. But he walks away with the scepter. Loki gets away with the Tesseract after the actual Hulk, the one from the past, not the one that is merged with Bruce, but the one from the past, knocks Tony out, and Loki gets the Tesseract. So, uh, the past Captain America thinks that the future Captain America is Loki in disguise. So he's like, hey, I found Loki, and they end up fighting it out. And the future Captain America wins by telling him Loki is alive, or not Loki, Bucky is alive. And he's like, wait, what? And he, uses the scepter to knock him out. And after that, he stands there for a few seconds, and he's like, huh, that really is America's ass. Which was just, to me, a funny line. And then Tony and Steve, Captain America, have to go back to like 1970, I believe. Go to the underground secret shield base underneath the army camp where Captain America like trained. He was there with Black Widow during I think it was Winter Soldier. He was with Black Widow there. So then they're able to get the Tesseract from then, but also get more of that time travel serum. Because they did only have enough for each person to go there and go back. Well, Steve and Tony went there and then went to there. So they were out. They had no way of getting back. But they were able to get more of that time stuff from the past Hank. Who was like the original Ant-Man before Paul Rudd's character. And then they succeeded in getting all the stones, but I can't even think of her name. Hold on. Okay, so her name is Nebula. So Nebula, from the future, got trapped by Thanos, and the Nebula from the past swapped with her and infiltrated the future. And long story short, Thanos from the past came to the future. He was fighting with. Oh, hold on. So I think I got ahead of myself a little bit. So, Bruce, I'm like, Hulk, Bruce. Bruce. Bruce, decided to put on the Infinity Gauntlet it was like wasn't the actual Infinity Gauntlet, it was like one that Tony made. But, it was enough to hold the crystals, and so then he could snap his fingers and bring everyone back. Unfortunately, he says this at the end of the movie, but he tried to bring Black Widow back and could not. He did try, but she was dead. But he was able to bring everybody back that disappeared, which is awesome. But what's not awesome is that the Nebula that was still loyal to Thanos, let him get in and to the future, and he blew up the Avengers building, the facility they have. There was like Avengers Tower or whatever, but this is something different. So it's the facility, and like he blows it up. So you have everyone like inside, and then Thor, Tony, and Steve are able to make it out. Steve just sounds like Steve. Hi, I'm Steve. Captain America are able to kind of get out, and they're like, okay, time to fight Thanos. So they're fighting Thanos, and just as like they're about to lose, Thanos is going to push Thor's axe into him. Um, the hammer, Thor's hammer goes, whoosh, nails Thanos, comes back the other way, and it's Cap using the hammer. And if you watched Age of Ultron, again, I guess a spoiler here, go a few seconds forward. Like Cap's able to, lift the hammer just a little bit. It's like, oh, you're kind of worthy, just 3% worthy. So you have Cap actually like using the hammer, using the lightning. It's super awesome. And just as like Cap, he keeps fighting, and he's basically about to lose to Thanos because he's severely like out of breath. He's tired, and not only do you have to face Thanos, but Thanos' army like just came, and it's like, you know what? I'm gonna die, but I'm gonna die fighting all of you. Like Cap was ready to take them all on, and then everyone who had disappeared, 5 years prior when Thanos snapped his fingers. By the way, they're not a day older. As kind of expressed by Spider-Man when he goes to Tony and says, "Hey, when I turned to dust, and then I woke up, and you were gone, so I think I passed out." Like to him, it was just like he passed out. He woke up and like, "Whoa, Mr. Stark, where are you?" But so like everyone comes to fight, and it was awesome. And then there's the battle for the gauntlet that goes around and around and around. Like Hawkeye has it for a while, and then Spider-Man has it, and then Black Panther has it, and then I think Thanos picks it up, and then he fights Captain Marvel for a little while. But then he takes the purple stone out. I can't remember which one that is, but takes it out, puts it in his left hand, and goes boom, just like punches Captain Marvel, and she goes flying. And then Tony comes in, and he's somehow able to snatch the stones away from him. And he uses the stones to snap his fingers and make Thanos and his entire army turn to dust. But then using the stones took a very big toll on Tony, and he actually ends up dying. And that was just like a super sad thing. But overall, the movie was fantastic. It really was. I absolutely loved this movie. I think they did. Now, I know they said they recorded Endgame and Infinity War. Well, actually, Infinity War, then Endgame, back to back. They recorded one and then they recorded the other. Just right in a row. And they recorded both within a year. So, that was like a huge thing. And, because of that, a lot of people's characteristics kind of stayed the same. 5 years isn't going to change you too much. But, that was kind of cool how they did that. Plus, I heard Chris Evans was kind of getting sick of being Captain America. And he's like, after this, I'm done. So they just wanted to do it as quick as possible. Plus, also, Scarlett Johansson was pregnant, I heard. But there was just like a lot of things different things going on, and they wanted to get everything done. So I don't know if they finished recording it before the passing of Stan Lee. But I definitely think for this movie and for any future Marvel movies, because I'm very interested in Spider-Man. What the hell is it called? Away from Home or something like that. the new Spider-Man movie that's coming out, Far From Home, whatever the hell it's called. I'm very excited to see that, but a lot of these, you know, movies that are coming out, I think they're going to do Stan Lee very proud. And even like my series with my Spider-Man game, I think it was after the second DLC, there was in memory of Stan Lee that they added in, which was absolutely fantastic. I think he even had like a small role in the main story of the game, not in the DLCs or anything, but in like the main story of the game, he had a pretty significant. I shouldn't say a significant part, but he only had like one line, and but it's a pretty important building because it's the place where Peter and MJ like always go. It's that one restaurant or diner. Um, but overall, I absolutely love the movie. I'm gonna keep drinking this because it's delicious. It's mango lemonade, probiotics drinks, 50% less sugar than leading lemonades, by Tropicana. Oh my god, Tropicana Essentials. What is wrong with me? So it's very good. But just to see everyone come back was, you know, so amazing. There were parts where you laugh, parts where you cry. I went and saw it with my sister. We were thinking about going, like, myself, my sister, and my brother because he was in town. But his girlfriend wants to take him to see it. So he was going to be nice and decided to, actually wait to see it for the first time with her, which is really nice. So my sister and I went and saw it. And, at the sad parts, I could hear her crying. Now, me, I did have tears running down my face. I had a few tears, not gonna lie. But I was quiet while crying. It was very small, the amount, so that way I wasn't. But, I was cool, I was calm, I was collected, I didn't lose, I didn't just bawl my eyes out. And neither did she, but you could still kind of hear it. But, even then, there was a father and his son sitting next to us. And I think I heard the son crying. His son was kind of young, but I think I heard him crying. So, it was just kind of like you had happy, funny moments. Then you had sad moments. It really is. But to have the movie the way it was, I think they did a fantastic job. Now, if you stayed through this entire thing and did not see Avengers Endgame, no one to blame but yourself. Otherwise, let me know what you guys thought of the movie down below. I guess maybe if you're just cheap and you didn't want to, watch the whole thing, because it was a 3-hour movie. Here's the thing: it was such a good movie, and I enjoyed it. The 3 hours flew by, but when you're done, you're like, oh, and you go to like stand up, you're like, I've been sitting for 3 hours. You can feel it. And also, not to have any credits afterwards. I know it's supposed to be like Endgame, but there are more Marvel movies. There are more. And even after the Spider-Man movie, there's more coming. There are. I saw a thing today. They have at least like 5 or 6 more coming between like 2020 and 2022. But like, But it was just a fantastic movie. So there's a couple others I have to go see. I have to go see like Captain Marvel. I have to go see the new Spider-Man movie. But they're gonna sell a box set. It's gonna have all 23 Marvel movies. It's gonna include Endgame. So basically, the first, which I think is kind of like the first Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk, not the original Hulk. And I know original, not the really really old one, the one from like '03, I want to say, where Bruce initially gets hit with the radiation. It's going to be like that Incredible Hulk, first Iron Man in I think it was 2008. That point on is what this 23 movie box set is going to consist of. It's probably going to be, they're going to have it be thin. Hold on. So I have this. This is a collection of the first 4 Fast and Furious movies. Look how thin these things are. And this is just 4. So you round up to 24. 6 of these things. I'll do you better. Measuring tape. Okay, so this thing's an inch. Okay. So if you were to have all the DVDs this size, now there's technically 23, but we're going to round up to 24. 6 inches. This would literally be a 6-inch box with all the movies in it. It'd be nice if they were in order. Alright, so that's going to be very exciting to see when that ends up happening, but it's going to be huge. And it's probably going to be pretty expensive. You could even figure, even if it's $10 per movie, that's $230. So you could probably charge $250 for the entire thing. It comes in a cool case with like the Infinity Gauntlet. And here's the thing, I have some Marvel movies. But if it's cheaper to buy the whole box set than just buy the individual ones I'm missing, I'll do that. But there are some I haven't seen. I didn't see Dark World. I didn't see Iron Man 3. I didn't see what else did I didn't see Doctor Strange. There's quite a few that I didn't see. I saw Ant-Man and the Wasp. I didn't see Ant-Man. So there's a good amount that I haven't seen that I would definitely love to see. But I think that's, significant time for this video. So if you guys like this, leave a like, comment down below what you thought of Avengers Endgame. Remember, I had 11 out of 10. Can anyone beat that? 12 out of 10? 20 out of 10? 100 out of 10? A million out of 10? Let me know what you thought of it. If you hated it, put that down below too. But if you're also new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on, and I will see you guys next video. Later.
Once I was 7 years old, Mama told me, go make yourself some friends or you'll be lonely. Once I was 7 years old.